a world where pterodactyl somehow begins with the letter P, we find ourselves unboxing the newest iteration of the Pink Power Ranger. There's lots to unpack here in the Power Rangers Remastered Lightning Collection Pink Ranger figure, which is difficult enough to say one time at normal speed. I can't imagine having to say it 3 times fast. Released back in 2023 at a higher price point because what else is new, and a brand new head sculpt and tons of accessories, which unfortunately doesn't include a new hat. So we take a look at the packaging here, particularly the back. We see there's a swappable head, a morpher, which is great, and I have no idea why the original ones didn't include this. We've got power gun, 2 transformed versions of the power gun, one that's like halfway there, and the other that's a dagger released in an electricity base, which I feel like just never really happened in the show, so I don't know what's going on. And you know, it's a waste of money. They could have probably done something else. You know, maybe, you know, a piece of that annoying robot, or a little bit of the console that they can kind of, you know, type stuff in. There's also the Pink Power Bowl, is what I'm assuming it's called, because it's sort of like Batman, everything's power. We got the Power Arrow, probably, I don't know, and 2 sets of extra hands that we can see here. All packaged in this awful closed box where you can't see anything. And if you bought it at a retail location, you're just hoping it wasn't swapped out for a Captain Marvel figure and like a nail clipper. Anyway, this box figure is a little bit better than others from the plastic-free packaging that Hasbro introduced. Mainly because there's a bit more focus on the art over here. They've tried a little bit. However, this, you know, action figure glamour shot still pretty stupid in my opinion. Don't like it. I know it's supposed to be a representation of the figure inside. I know you can't kind of do without it. Otherwise, your parents or whatever may be surprised at whatever's inside. But really, I just wish they cut. They had a little die cut here. Just put a thin piece of plastic covering that, and then we could just call it reduced plastic packaging. How's that, folks? And you can still see the figure, and then you don't have to do this weird shot. Anyway, here's some cool art on the side, which I really appreciate. Super awesome. And of course, we saw the back. Another action figure glamour shot. And previously mentioned before, I feel like there are fans who probably do a better job of it. The 6-inch Pink Power Ranger figure features premium paint, according to the Hasbro website, for whatever that's worth, and decorative details inspired by the show, with an updated portrait and pinless joints for awesome posability. From everything that I noticed, the mold seems essentially the same, except for the pinless parts of it. So if you have the old figure, and the pins are really pissing you off, then, you know, this is a great upgrade. Obviously, if you wanted the accessories, also perhaps worth the upgrade if you can maybe sell your older one, you know, not have duplicate figures or whatever. But, you know, for somebody who just didn't have a Pink Power Ranger figure, this one's, you know, the absolute perfect one to get. And arguably every school-age boy's first crush, of course, at the time. And celebrating the 30 years since the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had debuted, the original core deserved an upgrade. And, you know, and I'm hoping this one is it. Unlike the Billy Cranston that I got earlier, you know, well, a few months ago, I should say, Pink Power Ranger does not have wiggly leg syndrome, so that's great. She could stand up on her own. So the figure, like the others in the remastered set, offers over 20 points of articulation to offer a good amount of posability for an acrobatic limber character, and falls in line with the types of articulation you want to see in a figure like Spider-Man or those kind of again, acrobatic characters. The same movement would obviously be a little bizarre if they ever made it to like a Bulk and Skull action figure. Did they ever do those? Never looked it up. Whatever, I guess. Just like the Rangers before, it's honestly difficult to go wrong with a bodysuit character. It's got clean, simple lines, a defined aesthetic, well-known and referenceable source material from the live-action series. So on the surface, the figure doesn't look too different from its predecessors, or very different from what we've seen on the show, but of course the devil is going to be in the details. And unfortunately, Hasbro QA has some of the details wrong. Apparently, I've gotten doubles of both these hands. So I've got 2 right hands that look like this and 2 left hands that look like this. And they don't play nicely together because ultimately, I believe you're supposed to use these guys to hold the power bow. And the two right hands, open hands that I got do not hold the power bow, so I couldn't even display it like that, unfortunately. Also, you'll see what looks like little clips here that you would presume would be able to hold the arrow. Maybe in the show it held the other Power Rangers weapons to create that one mega weapon. I forgot. But you would have thought that it would serve a dual purpose of at least holding the arrow, but it does not. So there is a little divot here where you could kind of attempt to jam the arrow in. However, it is not very sturdy, as you can see. It kind of falls right off. I don't know what kind of finagling you have to do in order to get that completed. Three power guns, in dagger form, gun form, and whatever that form is, look fine. She's got a holster in order to hold it. Of course, we've got these pink lightning things that don't really matter and kind of a waste of money. Wish it was anything else, as I said before. And of course, we've got the Kimberly head, which looks okay. I feel like she looks a little older than what I thought I remembered in the show, and maybe they could have younged her up, or whatever the phrase might be. But doesn't look the worst. A fairly decent representation, probably in comparison to the older one anyway. So, taking a look at the figure's articulation, we've got swivel hinge ankles, boot calf swivel, double hinge knees, which are pinless, swivel thighs, ball jointed drop down hips, ab crunch waist, ball jointed torso hinge, butterfly pecs, swivel hinge drop down shoulders, barbell jointed head, bicep swivel, double hinged elbows, which are also pinless, and swivel and hinged wrists. As we move on to the figure comparisons to help you decide how the design language for this particular figure shapes up to other and similar universes, we're bringing along other Hasbro figures from the G.I. Joe classified line, which obviously doesn't fit in with. We've got the Star Wars Black Series, which also far cry from what they should look like. They just don't match together. Obviously, we're going to have the Power Rangers Lightning Collection and Trini over here, which is actually an Aisha figure because this is part of the 2-pack, but regardless, it's the older mode, just a different head, whatever. And the standard, of course, standard and perfectly 6-inch scale, 6-inch Spider-Man figure. Now, never have owning the Pink Ranger figure and only being able to compare it to the Yellow Ranger figure, it appears that the Pink Ranger helmet has a little bit of gloss in it, which gives it a nice bit of shine in the design. And I'm not sure whether the yellow helmet remastered, if there is one, has a shinier helmet. But yeah, there's a bit of gloss. I don't know if it comes through on the video here. But anyway, so let me know what you thought of this figure. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What kinds of stuff do you prefer collecting? And what figures are you looking forward to in the next couple months? Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more content.